Church Growth Unleashed, diving into all things leadership and church growth. Provide the help, encouragement, insights that you need along the journey of growing yourself as a leader and your ministry.
Welcome back to the Church Growth Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Danny Anderson, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things church growth, leadership. This is not just for pastors, but it's also for business leaders and entrepreneurs. Anybody who's trying to lead an organization, this is the podcast for you. Today, I've got a special episode for you because I want to talk about something that is, I believe, critical for all leaders, whether you're in ministry or whether you're in business, and that is your physical health. It's something that's not talked about a lot. It's actually talked about a lot more today than it ever has been, but it's an issue, especially for pastors, because for some reason or another, pastors are notorious for being out of shape or overweight and just basically neglecting their health. And the reality is that you can get by with that for a while as a church leader, a church pastor, a ministry leader, or even a business leader, but eventually it catches up to you. I wrote a few things down here I think are critical for us to understand that when you, over the long haul, if you neglect your physical health, you're eventually going to start to experience low energy. You're not going to feel well. You might get sick. You lose cognitive function over time. And generally, emotionally, you just don't feel well. And that's just a price that pastors and church leaders and even business leaders, we just cannot afford to pay. The reality is that ministry and leadership is demanding. It's demanding emotionally, it's demanding physically, it's demanding spiritually, and it's also demanding physically. And so we need to be in the best possible shape that we can be in to meet the demands of leadership in our life. And so I take this very seriously. I talk about it a lot. I talk about it with our staff. Many years ago, I was at a church retreat for pastors, about 20 pastors, and it was actually hosted by Bill Hybels, and Henry Cloud was there, which was fantastic. He kind of dealt with the emotional, mental side of things, but there was also a guy there named Jack Groppel, and he wrote a book called The Corporate Athlete, and I have it here, and I picked up a copy. I lost my cover, I read it several times, but it's called The Corporate Athlete, and basically he makes this argument that when a leader, a business leader, or a ministry leader is not in good shape, they leave 30% of their energy off the table. And he did this little presentation and talked about all the science behind it. And in the book, he gets into all that stuff. It's a fantastic read if you haven't read that. And he basically convinced me that, wow, I need to take my physical health seriously. Like, it's actually part of my responsibility as a pastor to be in the best possible shape that I can be in, to bring all of the energy that God has given me to the table. So really, today's podcast is not about, exercise for the sake of exercise. It's definitely not about vanity or looking good, although that is a byproduct, looking your best. It's really about maximizing your energy so that you can bring your best energy to your meetings, to your team, to your sermons, to your people, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And so I want to help you with some thoughts. These are thoughts that they're not new thoughts. You probably have heard these before. This is going to be a reminder and an encouragement to probably do the things that you've heard other people say, but you're just not doing them in your life. And so first and foremost, pastors, leaders, we need to get our diet under control. The food that we eat, the food that we take in. I'm totally convinced at this point in my life that everything I put in my mouth has to be high nutrient based foods. What am I talking about? I'm talking about whole foods with essentially one ingredient. I'm talking about things like chicken breast, grilled salmon, tilapia, vegetables, all of that stuff that has one ingredient in it. Because our bodies, and the science is out there, and I'm not an expert on the science, but I've listened to enough stuff, read enough stuff to know that our bodies cannot handle processed food. It can for a while, but over time, things start breaking down inside of us. So avoid processed foods, stick with whole foods, and try to stay within a certain calorie restriction that is healthy for your body. What does that mean? Well, essentially what you do is you take your current weight and you times that by 13, and that is your maintenance calories. So if you're a 200-pound person, You times that by 13, your calorie intake should be about 2,600 calories. Of course, if you want to lose some weight, then you times it by 11, and then you're in a calorie deficit, and you'll actually lose some weight. But your body weight times 13 is what you should be shooting for each and every day. No more than that. If you take in more than that, even if it's just a couple of hundred calories a day, you will gain pounds very quickly over time. And so take your diet very seriously. Eat whole foods. My wife and I have totally changed our whole shopping routine. We are now buying the grass-fed beef, the free-range chicken, all the eggs, because we want the healthiest food to come into our bodies. The food that I'm taking in, the food that you take in, is fuel. So if you can think about food not as something pleasurable, although it is pleasurable, think of it as fuel for your body so that you could do ministry well and leadership well. You'll actually start to change some of the food that you're eating. Get your diet under control. Number 2, get a workout routine set in your life every single day. Now, I'm not talking about, working out for 2 hours a day or being a fanatic about it. I'm just talking about moving every single day for 30 minutes, doing some type of physical activity. This is something I do every single day, and no matter what in my life, even if I'm traveling, I'm going to do some type of movement. Now, here's what the experts say. They want you to shoot for 3 to 4 times a week with some sort of strength training, with weights to maintain muscle in your body. And then also 3 to 4 times a week, do some sort of cardiovascular exercise, whether that is the Stairmaster or walking or running or playing basketball or swimming, something to get your heart rate up. Because the key ingredient to staying healthy and staying strong and bringing energy to the table is getting your heart rate up each 3 to 4 times a week to a certain rate. Now, what rate is that? Well, here's what the experts say. They say you need to hit at least 3 to 4 times a week, 70% of your max heart rate. Now, what does that mean? Well, what's your max heart rate? Well, you basically take the number 220 and you subtract your age, and that you take that number and then you take 70% of that number. So, for example, 220 minus 48, I'm 48 years old, is 172. Well, 70% of 172 is 120. So 3 to 4 times a week, I need to get my heart rate up to 120 for 30 minutes. And that's how you keep your heart healthy. If that, you go back and rewind this and listen to that again to figure out what yours is. It's 220 minus your body weight, and then take 70% of that number. That's your 70% of your max heart rate. So shoot for that 3 times a week. So basically, you're creating this rhythm in your life, this daily rhythm where you're doing some sort of strength training, and then some sort of cardio exercise to maximize your energy. Also, you're just going to look better. You're going to feel better about yourself. For me, at this point, I don't know if you guys have read the book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This is what he calls a keystone habit for me. My daily workout routine triggers other habits. That's what a keystone habit is, which trigger other habits, which trigger other habits. And so a workout helps me with everything. Helps me to rest well, helps me to eat well, helps me to stay disciplined with my other habits. So to maximize energy, you want to get your diet under control. You want to get a daily workout routine. Then you also want to stay hydrated. I did some research on this, checked out the Mayo Clinic, and what the Mayo Clinic said is that if you're a man, you need at least 3.7 liters of water every single day. It's a lot of water. That's what the Mayo Clinic says. So with what I do is I just carry a liter of water with me everywhere I go. I drink 4 of these a day. That gets me to a gallon. If you're a woman, the Mayo Clinic says 2.7 liters of water in order to stay hydrated, because water basically makes your body run. Your brain is 70 to 80% water. All of the organs in your body, everything needs water in order to function. Now, soda and coffee do not count. You can do the research yourself. I've looked it up. Those things are not the same as water. So you want to shoot for the H2O, stick with the water. Without water, if you're even slightly dehydrated, it can lead to headache, it can lead to fatigue, and loss of cognitive function, and also a reduction in your energy. So I know it makes you have to go to the bathroom a lot, but that's okay. It's worth it because without staying hydrated, again, you're leaving energy on the table. So we want to get our diet under control. We want to get a daily workout routine, and then we also want to stay hydrated. Let me talk about this last one. Number 4, you have to get proper rest. And it's unbelievable how many podcasts I've listened to over the years that talk about this whole idea of hustling and working until 2 a.m. and waking up at 5 and then working all day and just, you'll sleep when you're dead. And it's just become so vogue or hip to not sleep. And it's madness. It's crazy because God has created our bodies to rest well. And sleep is such an important part of that. Again, all of the body of research out there today, you can look it up yourself. Everybody says 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single day in order for your body to function at maximum energy and maximum capacity. So I take sleep very seriously. If you look into this at any depth, you're going to find out the best way to rest well is to create a sleep routine in the evening. So that's what I've done. I follow this routine pretty much every night. Essentially, I start shutting down at around 9 o'clock or so. I do the same thing. My wife and I sort of watch a show together. Then we go upstairs, and the process starts with brushing your teeth and getting pajamas on or whatever. And then I move into the bedroom, and the bedroom is designed for sleep. It is not. There's no television in my bedroom. There's a bed in there with some furniture because that's where I go to sleep. And so here are some key factors in order to help you to sleep better. Stay away from caffeine after 3 o'clock or so, and maybe even if you're sensitive, even more sensitive to caffeine, maybe even after 1 o'clock, because it'll disrupt your sleep for sure. All the science shows that. No television in the room. That's huge for me. No screens in the room. The screens that pop from the iPad, from the phone, from the television, they give off blue light and it messes with your sleep. No screens, no TV. Keep the room at a very cool temperature because your body rests better when it's cooler. There's new science out there today that talks about a weighted blanket. So we did this. My wife and I went to the store. We bought a weighted blanket, and it actually helps to sleep. I don't know why, but when you get that weighted blanket on your body, it helps you to rest well. Do not drink alcohol before bed or anything. A glass of wine at late or at night. You got to skip the nightcap. It's because alcohol might help you to fall asleep faster, but it definitely wakes you up around 2 or 3 o'clock in the night. It disrupts your sleep schedule. And then also just make the room pitch black. Just totally black out everything so there's no light. Cover all the blue lights from your phone, from your watch or whatever. Any blue light that's in the room can disrupt your sleep as well. There's so much information out there today about the importance of resting well, staying hydrated, about having a regular workout routine, and by controlling your diet. So these are some of the things that I do to maximize my energy so that I can bring my best every single day to my leadership team, to our church, with my sermons. Because at the end of the day, energy is what matters. And now, obviously, the Holy Spirit's working in us and through us and all that stuff, and I'm not discounting that at all. He does all the heavy lifting, but it's your responsibility as the leader to maximize the energy that you have so that you can lead at the highest capacity that you can. And so I want to challenge you. I know you're probably thinking, hearing some of these things and going, oh gosh, I know that I should do that. Just make a decision. Make a decision. Like, this is a leadership decision. Your health is a leadership responsibility, and you owe it to your team. You owe it to the church. You owe it to God. And by the way, when you are taking care of your body in the 4 ways I just mentioned, you are leading by example. You are showing your congregation that, hey, your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. You're going to honor God with your body, and you're showing them by the way you're living how to take care of their body. And so there's no better way to lead by example than just doing it yourself. And your people will follow you. They'll see. It'll come through. They'll see the difference in you, in your energy levels, in the way you look, and the way that you lead. So pastors, let's not let this slide. Business leaders, let's not let this slide. Make your health the top priority and see what happens in your church and in your leadership. I hope this is a blessing to you guys. We'll catch you on the next podcast.